Okay, so picture this. Earth. We screwed it up. Like really screwed it up. So bad that humans had to bail 500 years ago. Fast forward to now, and the peeps on Kepler 209, some fancy exoplanet, are thinking maybe, just maybe, Earth isn't totally trashed. They launch Project Ulysses, a couple of missions, to see if they can come back home. First one, total bust. But these elites are stubborn, so they send out Ulysses, too, with a new crew. Guess what? Crash landing. In the ocean. A young woman, Blake, manages to pull two of her crewmates to safety, but she's not having a good day. Turns out, one of them didn't make it. Blake wakes up on a beach, spitting out water like a broken faucet. She quickly realizes, oh, this is bad. After checking out Tucker, the other survivor, they find out the ship is a goner, and they've only got like 6.5 hours before the tide comes back and drowns their stuff. Now, Tucker's all messed up, so Blake decides to be the hero and goes off to explore this new, kinda messed up Earth. She's gathering samples, seeing weird bugs, and texting Tucker all her findings. Turns out, she also has to get her blood tested. For fertility? Seriously? What a drag. As if things weren't already going sideways. Tucker radios in, a storm's coming, and tells her to come back. But it's too late. The ship gets blown up. Boom! Blake is running, finds the ship, and all that's left is a big old crater in the ground. Luckily, she spots some tracks and follows those bad guys. Bam! She gets captured. They throw her into a well, filled with water, because why not? And surprise, Tucker is there too, injured. But hey, at least they're together, right? She learns they're survivors. Not the friendly kind. But Tucker's in bad shape and needs medical help. So she asks the locals. They pull her up, not to help her, but to fix their guy. Once that's done, back in the well, she goes. She sees kids and thinks, we need to report this back to Kepler. Tucker's getting worse though, so he does something heroic. He poisons himself. 'Cause, that will help. He tells her to keep going and to look for the first mission crew. Blake remembers her dad, a matchbox, and how he'd always be there. Spoiler, he's not. She gets a surge of motivation, just as the well starts filling with water. She claws her way out, just as someone decides to pull her to safety. But now, everything's underwater, like a bad water park. She remembers her dad talking about Earth, how it was lush. But then everyone went wild. She also remembers him leaving on the first mission, promising to send for her. Flash forward, and she's back in the well. The kids laugh at her and pour a bucket over her head. Then a girl, Mila, pops up, and Blake is like, hey girl, wanna get me out of here? Blake tells her story and asks her to get some important stuff. And guess what? Suddenly everyone's getting lowered into the well. What is happening? Blake peeks out. Turns out, the village is getting attacked by some baddies. But Mila and the others hide her. When they're gone, Blake finds the village trashed, and Mila missing. So, Blake is off to help. But Mila's mom doesn't trust her. Surprise, surprise. Then, they see some girls get captured and taken on a ship. Blake's not waiting around. She knocks out the mom and sneaks on board herself. Now, they're on a bigger ship, and she has to play along. Turns out, she's wearing a fancy pendant. The boss man, Gibson, is like, hey, you're Louisa Blake. Turns out, he knows her dad. So she tells Gibson everything. Everyone's dead. The ship is wrecked, but she saved the biometric scanner designed to measure fertility. Gibson says Ulysses 1 was destroyed. What a twist! Blake asks about her dad. Sadly, he and the mission leader didn't make it. They were killed after the locals rebelled and took everything. Then, Gibson's adopted son gives her a cute little paper ship. It's kinda sweet. Blake and Gibson chat about Kepler, which is all out of kids. Gibson wants to move everyone to Earth and carry out her dad's plan. But the planet is still kind of a mess, and the locals aren't helping. They're always fighting back. Gibson also reveals her dad thought the tides could be a power source, and that station was being built to generate electricity for the planet. Blake gets a private room. She's sad, washes off all the dirt, and realizes she's fertile again. She's finally getting some good news. Gibson's assistant comes in with new clothes. Blake's now feeling confident as she is off to explore the ship. She talks to the kids and sees Mila again. Then she learns of Christopher Columbus and meets a kid with a tree sapling. He is communicating with him through a pipe. So, Blake finds his cabin and sees her dad. But, plot twist, Gibson says the rebellion was all because of her dad, who betrayed Kepler. She asks her dad why. He said it's because he didn't want the relocation. Disappointed, she leaves. On deck, Gibson expresses regret, and she wants to talk about the lights she sees. He tells her it's the Henderson station. She suggests they transmit a signal there, and that she'll be the proof. Gibson finds the device, but then, stuff goes wrong. The power's out, the guards are down, and everyone is getting attacked. Blake gets knocked out, and it's Mila's mom. Turns out she only wants to save the girls. So they head to save Mila, only to get ambushed, and the mom tells Blake that the locals are stealing only girls. Then they ask why, and Gibson is all like, well, the ladies from Kepler are going to be old by the time they get here. We need new, young ladies to repopulate the planet. How messed up is that? Gibson and his assistant found the device, but it's empty. What the heck? He blames Blake and orders her back to camp, but the device is with his son, in the form of a toy. It seems Gibson's trying to send the data, but he doesn't have proof. Her dad is that proof, since he is from Kepler. Blake finds Mila in a wardrobe. She promises to find her mom. Suddenly, Paling, the assistant, is at the door and wants to search the cabin because a girl is missing. Paling locks the door, attacks Blake, but she manages to poison him and sets out to save everyone. She releases Narvi, and they all try to escape, but her dad stops her because they need to stop Gibson. Looking at the doll, she realizes the device is with him. So, she knows he's about to do something. He is taking Neil, the kid. Blake sees all the locals trying to escape and decides to help. They're running towards a small ship and get the locals on board. She climbs the weather station and finds Gibson there, pointing a gun at Neil. He forces his mother to tell the truth, and Blake learns that Neil is her brother. She gets distracted, and Gibson kills the mother. He is about to shoot Neil when Blake attacks him. They fall into the water, and she manages to strangle him, but she passes out. Narvi saves her, and she is back. Her dad sees all of it. She consoles Neil and shows him her matchbox. Inside is a single match. Neil asks if they'll come, and if they'll bring trees. Blake has no answer, as the children watch in the distance. So, that's the story. Now, seriously, think about it. If we had a second shot at Earth, would we actually learn from our mistakes? Or would greed and power take over again? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending content. See ya in the next one.